Far Cry 5 is the newest installment in the Far Cry series. Gameplay-wise, it's probably the wackiest, craziest of them all. It's pretty good. Yet the same cannot be said about its story, particularly in its ending. This video will try to explain why I feel it's absolute garbage. Looking at the overall story of Far Cry 5, it's a pretty mixed bag. Characters and dialogue have been written to a pretty high standard, though I'd say that no individual character in Far Cry 5 is written better than Vaas or Pagan Min, but characters as a whole, especially your allies, are better than previous installments. Plot-wise, it's similarly up and down, with certain regions having a better plotline than others. John Seed's campaign storyline lacks the druggy nature of the others, but is surprisingly engaging because it involves a lot of your allies and the drama between characters. 5's region is pretty heavy-handed on the drugs and magic teleportation, but these sequences mostly achieve the desired effect and the conclusion is great. Jacob's region, to me, however, is a rehash of 5 with similar drug trips and a pretty repetitive gimmick that results in a predictable outcome that even by Far Cry standards doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yet there's one thing that a lot of people agree on, and it's that the ending is pretty unsatisfying. Or rather, I should say endings, because in the usual Far Cry way, there's two, discounting the secret ending at the start of the game. At the end, you're confronted by Joseph, who has infected most of your allies with mind-controlling fart gas, which is so pungent it bursts out from their heads. You are given a choice to resist him and rescue all of your allies, or walk away with your friends you came with at the start of the game. The first ending, which most people will probably choose because you actually get to fight a final boss, is resist. You find Joseph and rescue your friends in a sequence that's more unbelievable than previous Far Cries because all your friends are collectively in the dream with you rather than it being just you and the villain. After rescuing all of them, you apprehend Joseph and are about to take him away when the nukes start falling. After a driving sequence, you arrive at some guy's bunker where it turns out all your friends are dead and only you and Joseph are alive. He carries you into the bunker and stares at you, telling you that he's been right all along, that cunt. In the second ending, you boom heads with the father and drive off with your friends, with the sheriff telling you that you leave and bring the National Guard back with you to crush the cult. After a suspiciously long driving sequence where you half expect the glorious sight of mushroom clouds, your vision suddenly turns red and the sheriff asks, "What's wrong?" implying, well, to me at least, that you've been brainwashed by the father and you presumably stop and or kill your friends. So no good ending either way. First things first, the endings don't make sense. You could explain it away as it being Far Cry, but that doesn't excuse poor writing. Why do the nukes not fall in the second ending? And if Joseph could just brainwash all your friends at his weakest point, why didn't he do it at the start of the game? However, my main problem with the endings is that they justify the actions of the cult. I think it's safe to say that the main theme of the game, or rather the message it wants to convey, seems to be that it's better to leave a situation alone than to jump in and kill everybody, as the early ending of the game also implies. Let's take a look at another game that possesses this theme, Spec Ops: The Line. Regardless of my overall opinion of the game had a clear line from start to finish of how you actually made things worse despite your good intentions. The people you're killing aren't heartless monsters, but civilians with guns and US soldiers, normal people pushed to the brink due to circumstance. But in Far Cry 5, Eden's Gate are not normal people. They're absolute monsters. By even suggesting that the actions of Eden's Gate are justified by pulling a fast one on us like this, the game robs away the sense of progress enjoyed by the player as they liberate areas and kill cult lieutenants. I'm all for artsy nihilistic endings if they're done right, but by pulling the carpet from right under us as Ubisoft has done, it directly counters the game's open world structure. Seeing the map being liberated inch by inch is satisfying. Killing important evil people is satisfying. It's the main point of the game, it always has been. The game would have worked a fair bit better had Joseph actually died in the end, either by your hand or by the nuke, because it would suggest that he may have been right in the end, but his ends do not justify his means. Instead, the player is left with a pretty bad case of emotional blue balls, a fact compounded by the muteness of the player character. I have no mouth, but I must scream. This is exactly what I felt throughout the game, as some of the characters spouted their bullshit philosophies and justifications in strange monologues, and I just wanted to shout at them why they're wrong. Which I must give due credit to the writers for making me feel so strongly about how wrong these people are. However, whether it's intended to make me angry instead of making me think that they're making a good point is debatable. Let's take a look at another game which employs the nuke ending. Hotline Miami 2. Here, you're not making lives better. Any building you go into becomes significantly worse and devoid of life by the time you come out, which isn't too dissimilar to Far Cry, except for the fact that the pointlessness is the theme that's built up throughout the game. You aren't playing good characters. You play as characters who dole out violence because they feel like doing it, and to an extent because they like doing it. But in Far Cry, you're doing what you're doing for a good reason. Eden's Gate members are assholes, and for that reason they're great villains and fun to kill. But by even suggesting that their means are justified in any way, it implies that in the face of tyranny and evil, it's actually better to leave the situation alone instead of making things better, which not only goes against the core gameplay and story, but also against morality itself. The ending would maybe have worked better had Eden's Gate not been such cunts, which begs the question, why are they cunts in the first place? Their main goal is to rewind time back to an earlier age in an attempt to return to the Garden of Eden, but does it necessarily entail torture and murder? Their actions go against the core tenets of Christianity, the Ten Commandments, and to me, it doesn't explain in greater detail what drives them to do such terrible deeds. But if we made them less cunt-like, the problem would be that they would be less satisfying to kill. So if I were Ubisoft, the solution to this is not to change the villains themselves, but to change the ending. Here's how I would have changed the first ending. Allow the player and his allies to successfully escape to the bunker, and have Joseph die in his own holy flame. It's still a shitty ending, but at least it still proves that his ends don't justify his means, even if he is right. Now, the first ending might not need to change if the second ending had been more properly handled, because then it would actually reinforce the theme of letting things be, even if it is quite a weak theme. But when I pressed the prompt to walk away in the second ending, I did not sign him for being best buds with the father. I did not. I didn't want to touch him, I didn't want to be forgiven. What I wanted to do was GTFO as soon as possible and return with the National Guard, which should have been the plan in the first place. Why Ubisoft aligned walk away with worship is beyond me, but probably this is the only lead up to your final action, where you presumably stop and kill your allies as they get out of Hope County. Why? Maybe if the player character talked, I would have understood his brainwashing better. But here's my explanation why. Ubisoft wanted a bad ending and squeezed one out even if it didn't align with the rest of the game and story. It's the same with forcing out a good ending. It also sucks when you force out a bad ending. Previous Far Cry endings were weakly executed, yes, but they were ambiguous and at least the players still had some autonomy in choosing their desired outcome. In trying to tell players that not everything in life ends well, or rather ram it down our throats, Ubisoft has alienated us and has left out something more crucial, a sense of completion. Now, what do you think about the ending of Far Cry 5? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll respond to it. If you liked the video, like and subscribe for more.